Hey, lovely people. Thank you so much for joining me, Suha Anwar, on the second episode of my podcast, Love, Relationships, and More. So, today we are going to be talking about how to love someone truly and selflessly. Well, before we get into the details of how to love someone truly and selflessly, a much more important task that we need to finish before getting into the details of today's topic is that we need to know if at all we love someone or not. Okay? This step is very important, mind you, my lovely people, because most of the times these days, whether it be teenagers or adults or any person in that matter, we tend to term a strong liking towards someone, or maybe infatuation, or just the fact that we feel good around someone as love. But my dear friends, that is not love. And this is the reason why in most of these relationships that start off on such a note do not last long. They're not as healthy as they should be, and more than anything, both the partners, both the people involved in the relationship suffer because the very foundation of the relationship is based on a misunderstanding, which people tend to understand with and as time passes by during the course of the relationship. So to avoid such circumstances and situations, we should always be sure first of whether we truly, let alone truly actually, whether we love someone or not. Okay, that is really important. So now, as we have understood why knowing and to be in knowledge of whether we love someone or not is so important, now the main question comes: how do we know it? How do we come to know whether we love someone or not, right? So I have two exercises for you to help you know whether you love someone or not. Okay? So the first one is, you are going to imagine, so let's do it together, okay? Close your eyes, sit in a calm place where there's no disturbance. Close your eyes, forget about everything else that you are thinking of and that you might be thinking about. Maybe if you're a student, in your homework, your studies, or if you are a career person, a mother, whatever, just forget about everything and close your eyes. Take a few deep breaths. And now comes the question. Think of the thing that is the most important to you in your life. Okay? It can be your family, your career, fame, a materialistic thing, it can be anything actually. And then think about the person you think you love. Okay? Now you have got two options. One, you can only have the thing that matters the most to you, and if you take the thing that matters most to you, like if you choose that, then you will have to sacrifice the person you think you love. Okay? And the second option is, if you think that no, the person you think you love matters to you more than anything in this world, and you can go beyond your boundaries to keep that person with you, to be with that person, you will have to sacrifice the thing that matters to you the most in your life. Apparently, that matters, that you thought mattered to you the most in your life, because of course, if you choose the person you think you love, then of course they matter the most to you in your life now. Okay? So if you choose the first option, where you choose the materialistic thing, or your family, or your career, or whatever the thing is, you are not yet in love. Whatever you're facing can be a strong liking or infatuation, or maybe just the fact that you feel good and comfortable around that person, and you want to be around that person. Of course, we always want to be around people who make us feel good about ourselves, right? And there's nothing wrong in that. Yeah. But if you choose the second option, then congratulations, you are in love with the person you think you are in love with. Okay? So after we have gotten our results of this exercise, now we can move on to the next question, which is the topic of our day. Okay, wait. Also, it might be because we are not talking face to face, so a lot of people there might also think that, oh, okay, I'm not in a position yet to decide on which one is more important to me. Can happen, of course, right? So for you, I have a second exercise. Okay? So in this exercise, again, you need to sit somewhere calm. Just take out everything else from your mind. Close your eyes. And now you have to think of this hypothetical situation. Like imagine, waking up your creative imagination power. So you're standing, okay, on some road or whatever you want to. That's up to you. Okay, you can imagine that. Maybe you're standing, or maybe you can even fly. There's no restriction, just be imaginative and creative. But the main thing here is, so you're standing or flying or swimming, whatever might be the case, but you are there in a place, and the person you think you love is also present in that place. But you actually see the person turning around and walking away from you. Okay? And try to feel it. Okay? Try to really feel it and imagine that what would you feel like if you were there and the person is just suddenly, without saying anything, is just walking away from you. And this walking away is a forever walk away. They're not going to return back to you ever. Never, ever. Okay? And just try to feel what are the emotions that you are going through. If you feel normal, like okay, there's no such problem really, then of course it is 100% sure that you are not yet in love. Okay, you could be in the stages, in 1 or 2 stages before love, but not in the stage where you know that yes, you love the person. But if you think that something is breaking inside of you, if you feel like somebody's trying to tear you apart alive, and you can feel and you want to start crying, then you are very much in love with the person you think you're in love with. Okay, congratulations. So now that all of us know whether we love someone or not, now we can proceed to the main topic of today's episode, that is how to love someone truly and selflessly. Now in this case, when you love someone truly, of course you will have to love them selflessly. And if you love someone selflessly, you are definitely loving them truly. That's true love, right? But the question is, how do we do so? So the first thing towards the journey of loving someone, towards reaching the goal of loving someone selflessly, is to have a selfless mindset. Now you must be thinking, what is this selfless mindset now? You must be thinking that today Suha is actually giving us so much of suspense. She is actually keeping all the secrets to herself, and she is unwinding them so slowly, right? I'm so sorry, guys, but okay, now let's get into it. Let's get into this selfless mindset. What is this selfless mindset? So this is my own definition. Okay, this entire selfless mindset is my own concept. It's my own concept. So in this kind of a mindset, you actually love the person not because they give you gifts, or they pamper you, or they make you feel good about yourself, but you actually love that person because you want to make them feel happy. Okay, so you can actually relate this concept to what I said in the last podcast of how do you know what is true love. So whatever I told you about true love is what you need to put in practice to be able to love someone truly. Okay, so that means you need to love someone because you want to make them happy, and not because they make you happy, right? It has to be about them and not about you. Because if that happens, then it really does not matter whether or not the other person loves you back or not, because your love is selfless. It is not getting conditioned by a stimulus, and the stimulus here would be the other person's love. It is something that is happening as a reflex action. It's happening naturally. So that is when you call it loving someone selflessly, right? So after you inculcate this mindset, the second thing that we need to keep in mind is no expectations. Expectations are a big no-no in the journey of loving someone truly and selflessly, because when we start having expectations, it actually goes back to the same thing as to loving the person because of the things they do for us, right? So we need to finish or stop having expectations from the person we love, because first, if the expectations are not met, then we actually suffer a lot. We actually feel hurt, we suffer a lot, and that actually affects our relationship, our love for the other person, right? Because we are not getting what we love that person for. Like, for example, if you love a person for their action of giving you gifts, like for example, if a person gives you gifts every day and that is the reason why you love them, the moment they stop giving you gifts, your love is going to go out of the window and fly away, right? So that is not true love. So that is the reason why you need to stop having expectations from the person you love to be able to love them truly and selflessly. That is very important. Well, it might sound really hard, but it is not hard, because I practice this concept of no expectations. Well, it is time consuming. It does not happen in one day. You need to keep practicing this every time you every time you get angry on why the other person did not meet your expectation. Just think one thing, that this is not about me. My love for the other person is because I want to keep the other person happy. It is about them. I need to stop having expectations, okay? You need to think that way, and I am sure you will get, you will just get to it, okay? You will, don't worry. I know it's intimidating, but don't worry. As and when you start practicing it, it's going to come naturally to you. You're going to have lesser and lesser and lesser expectations as days pass by. And don't think that is wrong or that is something bad. No, it's really good for your relationship, as we spoke about it just a few seconds back, right? So the first thing is having the selfless mindset. The second thing is having no expectations. So yeah, this is what it is. And the third thing is loving yourself. Before you love the other person, you need to love yourself. Because as I mentioned earlier during the beginning of this episode, that a lot of times people actually term their emotions as love for the other person. Like for example, a strong feeling of liking, or just the mere fact that they feel good about themselves when they're around someone, and they actually term it as love. But that is not love, right? It's not love. And these emotions are actually self-consuming emotions that come into being, into existence, because we do not have that confidence within ourselves, because we have given the steering wheel of our lives in the hands of other people, and our happiness depends upon them, which should not be the case, right? Because you need to know how to love yourself to be able to love someone else. It is important. It is really very important, And of course, we're going to be talking about self-love completely in a detailed episode, and I'm really looking forward to speaking about all these different things. So as I really mentioned in the first episode of our podcast, Love, Relationships and More, that love is like an umbrella. It is a very broad term, and there are so many things to love. It's an endless list. If you start talking about one topic, everything is so interconnected that you can just not talk about one and not talk about the other. Everything is equally important when it comes to a relationship. And why should it not be, right? It is so worth it. And lastly, for before ending today's episode. If you are someone who loves another person, and if you think that you're having a lot of problems in your relationship and you're not being able to figure out what to do, don't worry. You will actually, by the end of this episode, I hope and I pray that you do figure out what is going wrong in your relationship. And I'm just not talking about romantic relationships that happen between a girl and a boy. All these episodes that I am making in my podcast of love, relationships and more, they actually are applicable to each and every relationship on this earth. Be it a mother-daughter relationship, a father-son relationship, a friend-to-friend relationship, a teacher-student relationship, anything in that matter. Anything, okay? Alright, so that's all for today. If you loved hearing me on my podcast, Love, Relationships and More, don't forget to share this podcast with your loved ones so that even they can take help from it. And also, if you have any suggestions that you would like to give me, or any comments or anything, please feel free to follow me on my Instagram account, love, live, share. Okay, well, yeah, so that's all for today. Till we meet next, much love. Thank you. Bye.